אבוא ביתך, אשתחווה אל היכל קודשך ביראתך. ומקום משכן כבודך, ואני אשתחווה ואכרע, בברכה לפני אדוני עושי. תפילתי לך, אדוני את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת ישמך.
Welcome to everyone who's joining together in prayer this morning. Shana Tova. Welcome to our longtime members who support our synagogue. We appreciate and applaud. Welcome to our new family members. We love that you're part of our congregation and we rejoice in you. Welcome to the visitors among us. We feel lucky that you've joined us for these sacred days of prayer and celebration. Welcome to our LGBTQ communities, to our single parents, to our seniors, to our interfaith families, to our college students, and to all the dynamic individuals who are joining together today in prayer. Welcome to Ali Cohen, our fifth-year HUC rabbinic intern, who's officiating the family service in Boymel Chapel. Welcome to Dr. Jonathan Stinson, our cantorial soloist. Welcome and thank you to Dr. Mark Bailey, our choir director, who has led us in song and prayer for 27 years. And thank you to all of you, our faithful choir, who lift us with your beautiful voices. Welcome to our online community. There's 130 of you that are online with us right now. Though you're not with us in our brick and mortar building, you are part of our minyan. We celebrate you, we acknowledge you, and we're happy that you're with us. A special shout out to Cookie, to Uncle Lou, to Ralph, to my mom in Seattle, my dad in Belgium, all the non-family members who are there too. If you're tuning in and want us to give you a shout out, or you want us to read a name for Misha Berach or for our Kaddish, please let us know. We're happy to share those names for part of our community too. A really special thank you to Bob Zeke, who made it possible for us to have this great sound system and who streams so that people can join us from wherever they are in this moment. Also, thank you to Peggy Ekman, Pam Hudson, John Molander, Jenny Costello, and Julie Solomon, who worked tirelessly to transform this space so it can feel closer to our congregational home. As you entered, and since Rosh Hashanah, there were those buttons in the front, and now there's very few, so I think a lot of you have taken them. And we asked you to think about something you'd like to concentrate on in this last 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, to really focus on for the year 5,777. So it could have been courage, it could have been peace, it could have been love. So if you could turn to one another and greet each other, so we know who we're praying with. And also, if you have that button or you thought about something you want to concentrate on, share that too. Make sure everyone has a plan for breakfast, too. We come back together and we say, Gamar Chatima Tova, may you be sealed in the book of life. As we begin our service, I emphasize the importance of turning off our cell phones. Not only are they distracting to the worship environment, but they also affect the speed of our stream team. So if you could just airplane mode it for the next 2.5 hours. I know that sounds long, it won't feel like it. That would just help us and help our online community also. This Yom Kippur morning, we acknowledge that each of us comes to prayer with different needs and different modes of expression. Yet sitting side by side here, we hear the sounds of one another's praying voices as if they were our own. Every Jew is different, and yet together we realize the oneness of our faith. May this service offer you what you seek, strengthen your connection to your faith, and provide an opportunity of reflection and healing. We continue together on page 141.
I bless the night that nourished my heart to set the ghosts of longing free into the flow and figure of dream that went to harvest from the dark, bread for the hunger no one sees. All that is eternal in me welcomes the wonder of this day, the field of brightness it creates, offering time for each thing to arise and illuminate. I place on the altar of dawn the quiet loyalty of breath, the tent of thought where I shelter, waves of desire I am sure to, and all beauty drawn to the eye. May my mind come alive today to the invisible geography that invites me to new frontiers, to break the dead shell of yesterdays, to risk being disturbed and changed. May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for and waste my heart on fear no more.
We continue with Ashrei on page 168.
Ashrei yoshvei vetecha Od yalelu chasela Ashrei am shekachalo Ashrei am she'Adonai Elohav.
We continue on 171 with Ilufinu. And it's this beautiful prayer of asking our lips and our mouths to be open to sharing miracles and celebrating life.
Ilululu, 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 ilululu. Hilulu, hilulu, Magel Shirokaya. Hilulu, hilulu, Magel Shirokaya. Hilulu, hilulu, Magel Shirokaya.
We continue on 176 with Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
אמן.
בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמר רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמא. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתבהר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמד קודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
We rise for our call to worship 178. We remain standing as we continue on 181.
Those who dwell as scientists or laymen among the beauties and mysteries of the earth are never alone or weary of life. Whatever the vexations or concerns of their personal lives, their thoughts can find paths that lead to inner contentment and to renewed excitement in living. Those who contemplate the beauty of the earth find reserves of strength that will endure as long as life lasts. There is symbolic as well as actual beauty in the migration of the birds, the ebb and flow of the tides, the folded bud ready for the spring. There is something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature, the assurance that dawn comes after the night and spring after the winter.
We continue with the watchword of our faith, Shema, on page 186.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We continue on 197.
Who is like you among the silent? Mute and inscrutable, you witness our pain. Once upon a time, the sea was split, and Israel marveled at your outstretched arm. How many have cried out since then? How many have sunk beneath the waves? Centuries of innocent blood, lives lost to hunger, war, to cruelty or indifference, and those who died with your name on their lips, and still they perish in distant lands, and still they languish on our chilly streets. Your creatures are drowning even now, so why should we sing? Ever silent, hiding out in history, you have your reasons, or so they say. You left us on our own, so let us give you leave. Withdraw into yourself, withhold your saving power. And we will live on memories of joy, and stubborn and stiff-necked will cling to hope, and gather strength to fight the pharaohs when we must, and hold fast to freedom and celebrate in song, and vow that we will never be among the silent.
שירה חדשה, שיבחו גלים שמך, על שפת הים כולם. הודו והמליכו ואמרו צור ישראל, צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתחינו מך יהודה וישראל, גואלנו, גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני
We rise together for tefillah, beginning on page 198. And we're going to stay on the even-sided pages for a while.
חפץ בחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, תראה כוחך רב להושיע. מוריד אותך, מנגן חיים בחסד, מקיים הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אוסרים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ובדומנות, מלך מלך ומקיים ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך את הרחמים, זוכר יצורה וחיים ברחמים. ולמען אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקיים הכל.
We continue on page 209, and as you turn to this part, I just want to remind you we'll be standing for a long time. Just do what's right for your body. There's no judgment. And also, this next part of our service, it's a trigger warning. There's a lot of things that happen in this prayer that are difficult for people, and it's hard to hear at different points in your life. Some find great beauty and truth in the fact that we read this same liturgy every year, and some people, it's difficult for them. So if you need to excuse yourself in this moment because it's difficult for you, we understand that too. Just do what's right for you and your spirit. Today we call it by its rightful name, a day of dread, Nora v'ayom, unwelcome visitor, for we want to live in a sunny world where God is love and all endings are happy. But the drumbeat sounds and the words tumble down, and even the angels tremble with fear, for all things are judged, and all things will pass, and life ends in a heartbeat, and death knows our name. At the start of the year, in the season of truth, comes the day of remembrance, for all we forget and all we deny, and we fall on our knees in the depths of our hearts, for we know that the bell tolls for us. The words are old and the language was theirs, but the call is real and the message is ours. Take hold of your life while you still have the chance, for your story will end, and it might be this year in a way you don't know. Take hold of your life, make things right while you can, and don't miss the call of the dread.
קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא ואיום, ובו תינשא מלכותך, ויגון בחסד כיסאך, ותשב עליו באמת.
In truth, you are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal, you record and recount. You remember all that we have forgotten. And when you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no one other. Page 212. On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water, who by war and who by beast, who by famine and who by drought, who by earthquake and who by plague, who by strangling and who by stoning, who will rest and who will wander, who will be tranquil and who will be troubled, who will be calm and who tormented, who will live in poverty and who in prosperity, who will be humbled and who exalted.
בראש השנה יכתבון, וביום צום כיפור יכתבון. כמה יעברו וכמה
But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. We continue on 217.
The spirit is not holy, nor ideals, intention, or will. To love God in the heart, to carry a spiritual thought, this is not the holy way. Holiness resides in deeds alone. Only these are our task in this world. But to act without thought is empty, a mechanical rite without soul. Consciousness and action, matter and spirit, all unite in the midst of mindfully performed. We change the world not through our dreams, but through the way we consume, do our work, make Shabbat, and give to one another. Were we angels, pure disembodied souls, we would not need the discipline of deeds. Were we animals, pure instinct and drive, we could not rise to touch the sacred, to join body and mind, to live our ideals, to serve in the fullness of our humanity. This is the challenge of holy living.
וקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך, וקראת אל צבא עמם. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ, אדיר, אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך שמו לאדוני במקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, רחמיו ליל כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך להקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי אלך גדול וקדוש
We continue to pray silently through page 248, and when you have completed your personal silent prayer, please be seated at your convenience and ability.
She
Just over 2 years ago, Michael Brown, an unarmed black man, was shot by Darren Wilson, a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. His death and the subsequent uprising in Ferguson deeply troubled me. I started to attend advocacy meetings and events around economic and racial justice. I went to small house meetings, large town halls, and rallies in the streets. For a long time, I never said anything while I was in those meetings. I kept my thoughts to myself, feeling out of place, but passionate about the need for this broken world to change. I listened to the stories shared about racial injustice, subjugation, the pain minorities face. And I felt guilty, knowing that after the meeting, I would get in my nice little Subaru and head back to my upper middle class, predominantly white neighborhood, where life is so sticky sweet that sometimes I forget to lock the doors, and my kids play in the street, and our police hand out candy, and no one is afraid for their safety. After all, when I live the way I do, what could I really know about the state of the world? Who am I to say anything about injustice? But I would still go to these meetings because I was and am passionate about systemic change, even if all I could be is a present ally. At one of these meetings, I was asked to offer a prayer. I think I was probably the only Jew in the room, and they were trying graciously to be ecumenical. And as I walked up to take the microphone, the head of the organization asked, "Oh, just tell us why you're here." Why am I here? Every answer to that question sounded so stupid and unreal compared to the stories that other people had shared. My why involved a story that I talked about with very few people, and only in private. It was a story that some people knew about me, but one that I rarely talked about myself, because just the mere sharing of it hits the rawest place in my heart. However, in that moment, that story was the only true answer to the question, why am I here? I'm going to tell you this story because the why behind what we do and care about is essential. The key to our passion and energy around injustice in our world always stems from an elemental and defining experience in our lives. We resonate with situations that happen in the wider community when we identify our own personal connections. And only after articulating our why can we truly take effective action. The reason that I am passionate about systemic justice, so deeply moved by the Black Lives Matter movement and the efforts of the Amos Project, is because my own family has been a victim of law enforcement misconduct. Many years ago, an off-duty State Patrol trooper came out of an alley at 42 miles an hour without a siren, and soared airborne across multiple lanes of traffic into the driver's side of my sister's car. At first, we didn't know if Julia would live. And then, we didn't know what survival would look like. It was the beginning of a very, very long journey. There were some problematic issues aside from Julia's critical medical condition. At the scene of the accident, before even we knew if she would survive, Julia was drug and alcohol tested, came up clean, but the officer driving the car was not required to be tested. There were pages of information redacted from the 9/11 call report. The State Patrol held her wallet and computer, her possessions that were in the car, as evidence. Evidence of what? I have no idea. And even though it was a State Patrol officer at fault, the State Patrol also served as the investigating team of its own accident, rather than an outside law enforcement agency. And while my sister was in the neuro ICU due to severe fractures to a third of her skull and half of her face, the Seattle Police Department called for the State Patrol trooper to be charged with a felony. However, the county prosecutor waived the charges, not even giving the trooper a traffic ticket for fear that it would hurt police morale. The trooper was put on leave with pay, while Julia entered a new reality of surgeries, living with a brain injury, and a lifelong pain. While sitting in courtrooms, in lawyers' offices, in hospital waiting rooms, and in viewing the media coverage, I often would think, what if Julia was not white, educated, female, with access to hire the best legal team in the state? Of course, I knew the answer to that question. We saw people of color and people in poverty and people who were less attractive for the media who did not receive the same attention that we did. We believed in our power to effect change and demand justice, while others who suffered similar fates felt like their voices would not be heard. And they were correct. There was no way that Julia was at fault, and yet the State Patrol consistently treated her as if she had done something wrong. They held all of the power, but we had the mindset and the means to fight against the injustice of the situation. Most people do not have this ability. And in all the ways that we struggled as a family, we never wondered if we had a right to justice. So when it comes down to it, we are people of privilege. Of course, I know this is one story among many, and not all law enforcement handle misconduct in this way. In fact, most of our police and State Patrol troopers work tirelessly to keep our community safe. They risk their lives every single day, face abuse, and make every effort possible so that we can be safe. Singular situations do not define the whole, and yet, when you carry one story of injustice inside of you, you connect to the plight of others who have shared similar fates. Justice is a dispensation that not everyone in this country receives. In the meetings around injustice in our city of Cincinnati, I saw that I shared many of the same fears that others did, even though that I did not know what it was like to live those same stories. And after I told my story to a group of strangers, I changed, because now I felt like I had a right to be there. I understood that I'm not a fraud just because I live in a safe place. I would be a fraud if I lived in a safe place and did not try to make the world a safer place for others. I was no longer silent at these gatherings, and my voice became very strong, so strong that I'm now the president of that organization. When I hear about violence and injustice perpetuated by our system, it stirs something really deep inside of me, reminding me of my own painful story. Each person contains many experiences that awaken the alarm bells within our souls. Right now, we all feel concerned about the state of the world. But there are some situations that affect us more strongly than others. For many Jews, our alarm bells sound when we hear slander about a single group of people. Right now in the United States, there's an all-time high of anti-Muslim hate crimes and rhetoric. Prior to 9/11, there was somewhere between 20 to 30 recorded anti-Muslim hate crimes reported annually in the United States. After 9/11, that number rose closer to 100. However, 2015 and 2016 have been banner years for racist attacks, with a 53% hike in reported crimes, including at least 12 murders. Jews know precisely why the attacks on a religious group concern us, because we've seen it before. and we know exactly where it leads. Our memories of anti-Jewish legislation, Kristallnacht, and Auschwitz are part of our core identity and make us sensitive to the plight of others. And though we record and fear racist and xenophobic comments, the truth is the United States public is highly religiously tolerant of multiple faiths. According to the Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life, nearly 3/4, that's 70% of Americans, believe their faiths other than their own can lead to salvation. The findings indicate that the more religiously committed people are, the more tolerant we are of other faiths. Anti-Muslim or anti-Jewish rhetoric is not the natural response for most religious people. And yet, when we see it, when we hear it, it scares us. For most of us, this election season has us on edge. And we must be asking ourselves, Ma nishana ha'election hazeh? Why is this election feel so different from other elections? Why do we feel like screaming, this cannot be happening? Because we're really scared. For many women, our alarm bells are ringing off the hook due to the most recent video that came out involving Donald Trump's so-called locker room conversation. After Donald Trump dismissed his statement as just words, Canadian writer Kelly Oxford called out to women through Twitter to respond with stories of their first sexual assault. Almost 10 million women responded. At one point, the report of attacks were coming in, one attack per second. And even for those of us who've not experienced sexual assault, we are aware and frightened by the possibility that we see in another person's story. For every woman, these are not just statistics. This is how we live. And we know that not all men engage in painful conversations like we saw in the video. Most of our fathers and brothers and husbands and partners also grieve and fear for the women in their lives, and listen with compassion and concern to the humiliating rhetoric that dismisses the reality that so many women face. And yet, rape culture, justification of sexual misconduct, physical intimidation, and the affirmation of patriarchy as status quo, these are all part of the current political environment as well. All of us have different reasons to be passionate about injustice in the world. We each have our own personal experiences that shout to us through their hearts. We cannot allow this to go on. There is just so much happening in the world right now. So much pain and violence that it is easy to become paralyzed and not know what to do. However, there is too much at stake right now to be silent. We are a people of God, and to be a friend to God is to care for God's humanity like God, to hunger for justice like God, to pursue righteousness like God. Not to do the impossible, but to do the things that seem impossible, like peace, like equality, like changing our justice system, like ending childhood poverty, like making education for everyone a top priority, like ending hunger and homelessness and human trafficking, like making sure that we elect the best leaders for our country. We each have different histories, viewpoints, and behaviors. When you feel that trigger point within you, ask yourself, why am I here? What is fueling this particular passion? And once you know the why behind your passion, then share your story with all kinds of people. No matter how much it makes you tear up, or how many years have passed and it is still painful to talk about the way you've been hurt. That painful sharing is not for nothing, because in the sharing of your story in a place that matters to you will ground you. It will make you allies and build your voice in an environment where you can change some of the things in the world that so trouble you. Those changes, or the change brought by an open heart and a shared story, may seem like a drop of water in an ocean, but it may just be the drop that transforms you, and therefore transforms the world. Perhaps one of the greatest storytellers of our time was Elie Wiesel, who died earlier this year. With him, we lost one of the greatest speakers for our people. Wiesel is the most well-known survivor of Nazi concentration camps, whose story night is read in almost every high school in this country. We can only imagine what it meant for Wiesel to write his experiences down that first time, to speak to groups of people that he had never met, and tell them about the nightmare that he had lived through. So why did he do it? Why go through that pain? Wiesel said that he was a messenger of the dead among the living. He provided words to the unspeakable story of our people, offering fellow survivors a context and language to their own story. Wiesel gave us his stories so that we could explain the reality of the genocide of our people, and so that we could see our story in the suffering of other people. Wiesel spoke truth to power through his story. Wiesel believed that post-Holocaust there was no longer a specific Jewish theology for this world. He said, "The aim of life is not to make the world more Jewish, but to make it more human." Elie Wiesel changed the way we saw the Holocaust, our history, and he also changed the way that we see our future. Storytelling is one of the most Jewish things that we can do. It is how Jews live out our faith. The rabbis in the Talmud reflect on the importance of storytelling as a method of invoking God into our lives, and also as a method of reminding ourselves of our own collective humanity. Jews tell stories that we've heard thousands of times as part of our theological practice. Every Passover we tell the story of the Exodus as though we've never heard the story before. We read the same Torah portions every high holidays as if, on the retelling of the story on Rosh Hashanah, Abraham actually might change his mind during the sacrifice of his son Isaac. And on Yom Kippur, today, we read Nitzavim, where each person is called upon, priests and parents and children, reminding us that each Jew is a leader unto themselves, each one of us individually responsible for carrying out God's will in our world. Part of the gift of sharing a story is the ability to see beyond that story, to see our personal stories as a way to connect to a future where stories link us to other human beings. Through the sharing of experiences, we bring people closer to one another, close enough to make the leap that we can see that someone else's situation is akin to our own. We are not alone in this world. Our stories bind us, not just to those who understand our pain, but also with our brothers and sisters, our allies in the fight to change our broken systems. Our stories connect us to the law enforcement officers who work tirelessly to protect us and fight against the system of racial bias and injustice, to politicians and civil servants who see leadership as a true calling, to the men in our country who ally themselves with the rights of women. Our stories are more powerful than we can imagine. Our story is our healing offering to the brokenness in this world. Our story is our true voice, and that voice is the sound of a shared humanity. So when you hear those alarm bells sound inside of your soul, when your passion for change or justice takes hold of you, ask yourself the question, why am I here? And in that why, you will find power and the fortified strength to make a difference in our world. May this year be a year of strong storytelling, wholeness, and collaboration. Gamar Chatima Tova, Shana Tova. It's not Yom Kippur without Michael Jackson. On that note, we'll rise together on 252. Avinu Malkeinu Shma Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and Merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu Va'al Olaleinu V'Tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu Kaledever V'Cherev V'Ra'av Ma'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kol Tsar Umastin Ma'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu V'Sefer Chayim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, Male Yadeinu Mibrochatecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, Harem Terem Mesichecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, Na'al Tishveinu Rekam Milfanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing. Avinu Malkeinu, Kabel Barachamim Uvratzon Et Tfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, Aseh Imanu Lama'an Shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lemancha im lo lem'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech ela ata. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, patach sha'arei shamayim litfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, Shma Kolenu, Chus V'Rachem Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu V'Anenu, Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim, Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed V'Hoshi'enu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and Merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Konenu Banenu, Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim, Aseh
We remain standing as we continue on 254.
Bringing the Torah into our midst. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a meditation to remind us what we strive for, a chant that binds us to the chain of generations. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a moment of pure solidarity with our people's hopes and history, an invitation to affirm or dissent, to challenge or believe, to ask why or say amen. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, flowing like waters that renew the spirit, refreshing and sweet to nourish the soul. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, every word a blessing, every verse a conversation with God.
En kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'en kamasecha, malchutecha malchut kol amim, u'memchaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai, Adonai, Rachum v'chanun, Rachum v'chanun, Erech apayim, v'rav chesed v'emet, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון חפשה וחטאה Adonai, Adonai, Rachum v'chanun. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Devarim, שלושה דברים, עד שלושה דברים, עד שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. עד שלושה דברים, עד שלושה דברים, עד שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
We'll be reading from Parashat Nitzavim. We're on page 266. So the last few years, the way that we've worked with our aliyot, with our blessings and honors around the Torah, is to offer group blessings. So if you see yourself fitting in any of these categories, I hope that you'll come up. The first aliyah we're going to read, you all who are standing for this day, that we're supposed to stand. So a lot of people stand for this if they want to. You don't have to do what's right for you. But we're going to welcome all of the men in our community up who are part of our men's group, who offer goodness to the world, who build us, these fathers, brothers, anyone who feels like they can connect to that name, that role, these supporting men in our community. You're welcome to come up for the first aliyah. So that's like half of you. You don't have, do what you want. Okay. I'll move out of here. I know, it's fine.
Somebody. We got to fight now.
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. We're back a little bit.
Too far back.
No. This is what we get for... Here you go. Yeah. I'm going to have Richard do that. You can show them that.
Baruch et Adonai HaMorach, Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed, Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem roeshechem shiftechem ziknechem v'shot rechem kol ish Yisrael tapchem nisechem v'geirecho asher bekerev mechunecho Mechote veitzecho ad shoed mimecho leavrecho vavrit Adonai Elohecha uvalato Asher Adonai Elohecha koreit amecha hayom leman hakim itecha hayom lo le'am vehu Adonai hu yeh lecha le'Elohim ka'asher diber lach וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך, לאברהם וליצחק וליעקב, ולא ייתכם לבדכם, אנוכי כורת את הברית הזאת, ואת האלה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה, עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו ואת אשר עינינו פה עמנו היום.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emes v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Thank you to our brothers and our fathers, to our partners, for being strong, great men.
Jerry.
Thank you, Terry. English.
You stand this day, all of you, in the presence of Adonai your God, your tribal heads, elders, and officials, every man, woman, and child of Israel, and the stranger in the midst of your camp, from the one who cuts your wood to the one who draws your water, to enter into the covenant of Adonai your God, and the oath that Adonai your God made with you this day, to establish you as God's people and to be your God, as promised to you and sworn to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And not with you alone do I make this covenant and this oath, but with each one who stands here among us this day in the presence of Adonai our God, and with each one who is not here among us this day.
For our second Aliyah, we welcome all the women in our community. We have several active women's groups here at Temple Shalom. We have the women of Temple Shalom Sisterhood. We have a Rosh Chodesh group. We have a book club that just happens to be all women. So lots of active women. So all of you mothers and daughters and sisters, please join us for a blessing around the Torah. We welcome Pam up to chant. To show you where you are. Just tell us. It's going to be Joyce. Joyce, I need your talus. Joyce made this talus.
No, she did not.
She didn't. She almost made this talus. She made it by buying it in Israel. Where's the one you made? Oh, terrible. Oh, Lord. You're going to be our...
Oh, I am.
Oh, hold on a second. That's good. So, tell us where you are. All right, ladies, can you see? Baruch Adonai Hamborah, Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
כי יבואו עליך כל הדברים האלה, הברכה והקללה אשר נתתי לפניך, והשבותה אל לבבך וכל הגויים אשר ידחך אדוני אלוהיך שמה, ושבת אדוני אלוהיך ושמעת בקולו, כי כל אשר אנוכי מצווך היום אתה ובניך וכל לבבך ובכל נפשך, ושב אדוני אלוהיך את שבותך וריחמך, ושב וקיבצך מכל העמים אשר הפיצך אדוני אלוהיך שמה, אם יהיה נידחך בקצה השמיים, משם יקבצך אדוני אלוהיך, ומשם ייקחך, והביאך אדוני אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר ירשו אבותיך ורשת, והיטיבך והרבך מאבותיך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Thank you, my sisters. Continue being strong. You got it. You want it?
I got it.
That's fine.
When all these things happen to you, the blessing and the curse that I have set before you, and you take them to heart among the nations to which Adonai your God has sent you away, and you return to Adonai your God, listening to all your heart and soul to God's voice, do everything I command you this day, you and your children, then Adonai your God will bring you back from captivity and take you back in love. Adonai your God will return to gather you from all the nations which you were scattered. Should you be banished beyond the horizon, even from there, Adonai your God will gather you up and take you back.
Thank you, Charlie. For our third Aliyah, I welcome everyone who tries to make this world a better place. Those who are pursuing justice, who are trying to change the world, who are out there knocking on doors for this election season. All of you who are helping make a difference in this world. Come on, it's more than me. Yeah, right? Okay, I'm going to let you guys come a little nice and close to me. You're just going to take the towel and we'll do this together. I'm going to show you where we are. Here. Baruch et Adonai Hamorach. Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
That's right.
Uma'al Adonai Elohecha et levavecha ve'et levav zer'echa la'ahavat et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha lema'an chayecha v'natan Adonai Elohecha et kol ha'alot ha'ele al oivecha ve'al shonecha asher redefucha v'yata tashuv v'shamata b'kol Adonai v'asita et kol mitzvotav asher anochi mitzvotav hayom, v'hotirecha Adonai Elohecha b'chol ma'aseh yadecha, be free b'knecha, u'be free b'hamdecha, u'be free adametecha, l'tova, ki yashuv Adonai lasus alecha l'tova, ka'asher sas al ovetecha, ki tishma b'kol Adonai Elohecha, l'shmor mitzvotav v'chukatav ha'ktuva b'sefer ha'torah hazeh. Ki tashuv el Adonai Elohecha v'kol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Thank you all. Continue changing the world. Yeah. Thank you. CC. Come on up.
Then Adonai your God will open your heart and the hearts of your children to love Adonai your God with all your heart and all your being, for the sake of your life. Adonai your God will afflict your enemies and those who pursue you with hate. But you will return, heeding the voice of Adonai, obedient to all the mitzvot I command you this day. And Adonai your God will bestow abundance through the work of your hands and through the fruit of your womb, through the fruit of your livestock and through the fruit of your land. Once again, Adonai will rejoice in your well-being as in your ancestors before you, because you will heed the voice of Adonai your God, keep the mitzvot and the laws inscribed in this book of Torah, and return with all your heart and all your being to Adonai your God.
Perfect. So you read Torah. With the living Torah in front of us, we think about those who are in need of healing in body, mind, and spirit in our community, those in hospital beds and nursing facilities in their own homes, those who struggle with addiction, deep grief, and difficult decisions ahead of them. And we also include in our prayers all those who bring healing into this world: doctors and nurses, therapists, counselors, family, and friends. If you'd like to share a name of someone who's in need of healing of body, mind, and spirit, we'll start here and just go nice and slowly, so anyone who'd like to share a name may do so. Gary Algier, Cookie Aronoff, Judy Avner, Mira Barner, Ruth Bergman, Sheila Boniface, Eve Cohen, Ethan Kadish, Yael Kraus, Lee Krinick, Mel Hudson, Ira Lerner, Shirley Metlin, Sophie Mitnick, Iris Riggs, David Rose, Betty Roth, Pearl Roth, Daniel Rothschild, Bob Rubin, Iris Sham, Kathy Simon, Mejia Stoneman, Ralph Strauss, Sherman Weinstein, Yehuda Ben Aharon, Chaim ben Yaakov ben Nechama, and all those in our country, and also specifically those in Florida after Hurricane Matthew and those in Haiti. If you'd like to follow along with us with Misha Berach, we're on page 273.
Before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misherera hivotenu, mikol habracha.
Continue on page 274 with the lifting and dressing of the Torah. We welcome Jill and Jim to the bima. We rise together. We stand before the tree of life, source of our strength, our comfort, our challenge, our call to holiness. We stand before the tree of life, our Torah, ancient yet ever renewed. Its message is for all people. Its words speak to all generations. Its truth endure and give hope. Like those who came before us, we carry the Torah in our midst and hold it close. For those who will come after, we preserve and cherish its teachings. This is the Torah, our gift, our blessing, our responsibility. In reverence and gratitude, we stand, all of us this day, before the tree of life. We continue with our Haftarah. We welcome Ken Setzer up to do the blessings, and Elizabeth Burstein and Marion Rubin to read the Haftarah. I guess you know it. It's on page 275.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'neviim tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem hane'emarim ve'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe abdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'neviei ha'emet tzedek.
We're on page 277, and our first reading is 1 through 7.
Thank you. Cry from the depths, says God. Do not hold back. Lift up your voice like the shofar. Tell my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sin. Yes, they seek me daily as though eager to learn my ways, as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not abandoned God's law. They ask of me the right way, eager for God's nearness. They say, why did we fast and you do not see it? We afflict ourselves and you do not know it? Because even on your fast day, you think only of desire while oppressing all who work for you. Because your fasting is filled with strife and with callous fist you strike. No, your fasting this day will not lift up your voice before heaven. Is this the fast I desire? A day to afflict body and soul, bowing your head like a reed, covering yourself with sackcloth and ashes? Do you call this a fast, a day worthy of the favor of Adonai? Is not this the fast I desire? To break the bonds of injustice and remove the heavy yoke, to let the oppressed go free and release all those enslaved.
Then shall your light burst forth like the dawn, and your wound shall quickly heal, your righteous one leading the way before you. The presence of Adonai guiding you from behind. Then when you call, Adonai will answer, and when we cry, we'll respond, I am here. If you remove the chains of oppression, the menacing hand, the malicious word, if you offer your compassion to the hungry and satisfy the suffering, then shall your light shine through the darkness, and your night become bright as noon. Adonai will guide you always, slake your thirst in parched places, give strength to your bones. You shall be like a well-watered garden, an unfailing spring. From you, then, will rebuild ancient ruins, lay foundations for ages to come, and you shall be called the one who mends the breach and brings back the streets for dwelling. If you cease to trample Shabbat, stop pursuing your affairs on my holy day. If you call Shabbat a delight, the holy day of Adonai honored, and if you honor God by not doing business or speaking of everyday matters, then shall you take pure delight in Adonai. I will lift up your journey on earth to the highest of places, and nourish you from the heritage of your father Jacob. For thus spoke Adonai.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol ha'olamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'oseh ha'madaber u'makayehem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu l'michila v'lislicha Ulakara, Lachavod, Ultifaret, Al Hakol Adonai Eloheinu, Anachnu Modim Lahach, Umavarachim Otahach, Yit Barach Shimcha, Bifi Kol Chai Tamid Leolam Va'ed, Udvarcha Emet Vekayam La'ahad, Baruch Ata Adonai, Melech Mochel V'Soleach, La'avotenu V'Lavonot, Malmot Beit Yisrael, Uma'avir Ashmotenu, B'chol Shana V'Shana, Melech Akol Haaretz, Mekadesh Yisrael ve'yom HaKippurim.
Amen. We continue on 284. Are you doing first?
I'm going first.
Okay.
A prayer for our congregation. Eternal presence, who blessed our mothers and fathers, bless this holy congregation, a house of study, prayer, and righteous deeds. Together let us give thanks for our leaders, those who learn, teach, and uphold the Torah, inspiring others to learn, teach, and uphold the Torah. Those who do the sacred work of building our community, may their service bring them joy, fulfillment, and purpose, and may they go from strength to strength. For our members, diverse in age, interest, and background, Jews by birth, Jews by choice, and those of other faiths who join with us, all who offer their time and talent, their love and commitment. For all who come here on this holy day of Yom Kippur to share the search for meaning and renewal, your presence is a blessing, your friendship a gift. May the spirit of peace, dignity, and respect live within these walls, inspiring us to care for one another with compassion. And may we be a source of goodness, light, and healing for the world. May the one who blessed the generations before us bless us as we stand together this day. One congregation joined with all Jewish communities of the world. Through our prayers on this Day of Atonement, let us renew ourselves for the year ahead. Let us honor the precious legacy that is ours.
We continue on 286, the prayer for our country.
God of holiness, we hear your message. Justice, justice, you shall pursue. God of freedom, we hear your charge. Proclaim liberty throughout the land. Inspire us through your teachings and commandments to love and uphold our precious democracy. Let every citizen take responsibility for the rights and freedoms we cherish. Let each of us be an advocate for justice, an activist for liberty, a defender of dignity. And let us champion the values that make our nation a haven for the persecuted, a beacon of hope among the nations. May our actions reflect compassion for all people within our borders and abroad. May our leaders and officials embody the vision of our founders to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We pray for courage and conscience as we aim to support our country's highest values and aspirations, the hard-won rights that define us as a people, the responsibilities that they entail. We pray for all who serve our country with selfless devotion, in peace and in war, from fields of battle to clinics and classrooms, from government to grassroots, all those whose noble deeds and sacrifice benefit our nation and our world. We are grateful for the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that our founders ascribed to you, our Creator. We pray for their wisdom and moral strength, that we may be guardians of these rights for ourselves and for the sake of all people, now and forever.
We continue on 291. We'll rise together. A precious teaching I have given to you, my Torah. Do not forsake it. A tree of life to those who hold it fast, all who embrace it know happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Take us back, Adonai. Let us come back to you. Renew in our time the days of old. Remain standing as we continue on 293 responsively. Because I was angry, because I didn't think, because I was exhausted and on edge, because I'd been drinking, because I can be mean, because I was reckless and selfish, because I was worried about money, because my marriage was dead, because other people were doing it, because I thought I could get away with it, because I did something wrong, because I'm in pain, because I wish I could undo it, because I hurt him, because I lost her trust, because I let them down, because I was self-destructive, because I was foolish, because I'm ashamed, because that's not who I am, because that's not who I want to be, because I want to be forgiven. God, bring down my walls of defensiveness and self-righteousness. Help me to stay in humility. Please give me the strength to do what's right. 296. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong.
Ashamnu,
Ashamnu,
Bagadnu,
Bagadnu,
Gazalnu,
Gazalnu,
Dibanu Dofi,
Dibanu Dofi,
ay, 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 Haevinu,
Hevinu,
Vahirhamnu,
Vehirshanu,
Zadnu,
Zadnu,
Hamasnu,
Hamasnu,
Tafalnu Shaker,
Tafanu Shaker,
ay, ay, Ya'atznura,
Ya'atznura,
Hizavnu,
Hizavnu,
Latznu,
Latznu,
Maradnu,
Maradnu,
Niatznu,
Niatznu,
Sararnu,
Sararnu,
Avinu,
Avinu,
Pashanu,
Pashanu,
Sararnu,
Sararnu,
Kishinu Oref,
Kishinu Oref,
ay, ay, Rashanu,
Rashanu,
Shichatnu,
Shichatnu,
Tiavnu,
Tiavnu,
Tarinu,
Tainu,
Titanu,
Titanu. Of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely. We are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes. We are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. Page 299. For the sin we committed against you through evading and avoiding, because we could not face the truth. for our flight into hypocrisy and deception, because we did not dare to speak it, for the facts we dissembled and all we glossed over, for the excuses we made, for feeding our bodies and starving our souls, for interfering with the souls of others and neglecting their needs, for shifting our responsibilities for reproaches and recriminations, for our foolishness, our folly, and false standards, for seeing these things only in others, never in ourselves, for our complacency which blinds us, and our self-righteousness which lessens us, for calculating kindness and measuring out pity, for charity that is cold and prayers without feeling, for withholding our love, for the appeals that we ignored and the people whom we refused, for the affection which died in our lives that became bitter, for the visions which faded, the ideals we neglected, and the opportunities we lost, for the fear of change and renewal in our unbelief, for saying prayers aloud but refusing to listen, for being our own worst enemy. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha be'ones uvratzon, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'yod'im uv'lo yod'im. The ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha bivlei ta'at, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'ritzat raglayim lahara. The way we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha bechozek yad, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'zilzul horim umorim. The way we have wronged you by abusing our power, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha beyetzer hara, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha bekashut oref. The ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha bechachash uvchazav, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha bechalut rosh. The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'siach siftotenu, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'tzarut ayin. The ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations, and the harm we have caused in your world through envy. V'al kulam Elohai slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us into atonement.
Ve'al kulam Elohai slichot.
Shachatanu lefanecha v'galui uvasater, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'snat chinam. The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'frikat ol, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'ma'achal uvmishteh. The ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'gilui arayot, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'umetz halev. The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'neshech uvmarbit, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'masa uvmatan. The ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'hirhur halev, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'irchilut. the ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and the harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. The ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public. V'el kulam Elohai slichot. Slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us into atonement.
Ve'al kulam Elohas lichot.
We continue silently through 316. If you're able to stand, continue standing. If you can't, don't worry about it. Sit down, do what's right for you. We continue on page 316.
Chus v'rachem aleinu. רחמים וברצון את תפילתנו.
As we conclude our service, I want to thank everyone who participated in today's worship. Thank you to our readers, to our Bima honors, to our Torah readers. Thank you to Ali Cohen, our Rabbinic Fellow, for her energy in building dynamic family programs for our families during this season. Thank you to Bob Zeke for streaming for the 220 of you who are online with us today and making that possible for all of us. Thank you to Dr. Mark Bailey and to your incredible choir, to Noel for your guitar, and to Jonathan, your gorgeous voice. Thank you to Denny Reed Miller and all of the ushers who volunteer in this season for welcoming us and keeping us safe. Thank you to Tom Glassman, president of our congregation, to our steering committee and our board of trustees, and all of you here who serve on committees to keep our Sholom community a thriving place. Thank you to our incredible staff, Jenny Costello, Julie Solomon, Lindsay Danziger, Fayena Godkin, for ensuring that today runs smoothly. It's not easy to coordinate high holidays, let alone in a different space, and everything that you do is always done with grace and agility, and it will always go the extra mile, and we all notice it. Thank you to all of you who contribute financially to Temple Sholom, both you in this room and all of you online who have been giving, who sustain us and help us keep the lights on. If you are not a member of Temple Sholom and would like to be, please see our welcoming table, or if you're online, there should be a link right there that you can look at. If you're already a member but you want to become more involved, let us know also. There's all kinds of places for engagement. Please don't forget to return your machzorim, your prayer books, as you leave. I also want to say a special thank you to my husband Ryan, who is not in this room right now because he's taking care of our two children. That part of calling of a rabbi is that your family gets called also, and to be present with you as a community means that someone at home has to be present also. And so I thank him, and our congregation thanks him for his role in making sure that these high holidays go the way that they are. Thank you also to our armed forces stationed all over this world who are praying with us today, and to our police officers, both locally and nationally, and to our emergency personnel for keeping us safe. And a brief reminder as we conclude today that this is a fast day, but God does not ask us to fast until we are sick, or want us to suffer, or risk our health in pursuit of a fast. Fasting is for the soul. It is for you, not for God. It's for us to help concentrate on what is important in our souls rather than focus on our traditional earthly needs. If fasting from food is not healthy for you, try abstaining from something else for the day. Be focused and mindful. Take your medicine, but do not suffer. Okay? Also, if you choose to stay with us in the building through the rest of the day, through the afternoon service, we have all different learning opportunities. It's in your page here, from yoga to a study on Israel, to our martyrology, and to talking about our shared stories. So please think about staying with us, and if you're not, you're going to go and you'll come back. The afternoon service begins at 3:30. And we're doing things a little bit different today, so I don't quite know when Yizkor is, but it should be about 4:45. And the end of the services should be about 5:45. So for those of you with briskets in the oven, I wanted to let you know. So, thanks. We'll conclude this part of the service for Yom Kippur on 318. Let's read this together. Infinite source of goodness, help us to see the good in ourselves and others and in the world around us. Teach us to cultivate a discerning mind, to know right from wrong, and a listening heart open to love and forgiveness. Guide us to walk in your ways with integrity, ever faithful to the promises our forebears made. And may your goodness inspire us to do what is just and right.
Hayom, 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 hayom.
Gamar Chatima Tova. Thank you and take care of yourselves, and see you at 3:30.